Anxiety is an asshole. We know this. We know that anxiety is a monster that has moved into our brain, doesn't pay rent, makes big old messes, and doesn't clean up after himself. And one of the things that anxiety as an asshole loves to do is to make you think that everything comes down to binaries, that there are two choices, that you were either this or that, or that you can do this or that you can do that. And the reason is that anxiety finds that very comforting, right? Like, it's very comforting to know that this is the answer. It's a very finite answer. And so it can be kind of soothing in the immediate, kind of a superficial level. It kind of soothes anxiety a little bit to distill things down to binaries. But it's not actually helpful because it's not actually real. Life is messy. Life is complicated. People are messy. People are complicated. And very rarely, if ever, do problems or issues or challenges come down to only two options. Now, our brain may think that it does, but in this video, I want to talk a little bit about that kind of all or nothing thinking, black and white thinking. There's only two choices. And I want to challenge that with an idea of both and. And the idea of both and refers to taking the possibility, kind of accepting the possibility and using the possibility that multiple things can be true at the same time. So for example, I hear people all the time will say, like, I'm not good at making phone calls. I'm not good at social encounters. I'm not good at whatever. I can't do these things. But if I poke them about it and I say, like, literally never, you can never, ever, ever do any of these things ever with any degree of success, usually somebody will say, well, yeah, I can under these circumstances, or I can if I have these supports, or if I've done whatever, if I'm feeling this way, or, they can come up with ways that they can. So then I say, oh, well, then you aren't bad at phone calls. You have times that you're bad at phone calls, and then you have times that you're good at phone calls, and those can both be true. You can be good at something and also want to get better at it. You can be happy in your relationship and also have points of unhappiness in it. You can love your family and also have some issues with some people in your family. This idea of both and, of accepting kind of the gray area, can make you feel a little bit more anxious at first, and that's something that as you're getting better at managing your anxiety, kind of moving through those places where you do feel like maybe it's a little bit worse at first, where you kind of sitting in the gray area feels worse at first, but you're knowing that that's an investment, that you're going to get accustomed to that you're going to get comfortable with that, and that's actually going to make your life a lot better and a lot more meaningful, and your connections are going to feel a lot better. I think that this idea of binary thinking can also be used to compare ourselves to other people. So we'll say, like, oh, this person is popular and I'm not popular. This person is successful and I'm not successful. And again, this idea of both and, that somebody can be popular and also you can be popular, or that success is not binary. Success comes in all forms of measurements. Some people measure success in terms of money and power. Some people measure success in terms of happiness, or social impact, or whatever it is that they're doing. So people have different measurements, which means that there's not a black and white way to look at it. So as you're moving through your week, looking at kind of the unhelpful thinking patterns, kind of looking at how your anxiety is affecting you this week in quarantine during the pandemic, ask yourself that. What are you, when you're up against challenges, when you're having these feelings, when you're feeling frustrated or overwhelmed, in what way is the anxiety monster there in your head saying, oh, well, if you have conflict with your roommates right now, that must mean that they're terrible people and you can't live with them? It's not black and white. There are more than two options. There are gray areas. And if you can kind of train your brain to kind of shift into those gray areas and lean into it and accept those gray areas, you'll find your life is a lot more meaningful and your anxiety ultimately does go down. Again, at first it might feel a little kerfluffled because your anxiety wants that kind of finite definitions and labels. But if you can train your anxiety to just hang on, it's going to feel better. Once you get used to the gray areas, things are going to go a lot better for you. I will see you over on Facebook. I will see you on Instagram. I will see you when you subscribe here on YouTube, and then you get all of my awesome videos every day. And also you can head over to my website, drkarenmcdowell.com, and sign up for Mindful Messages, which is my email list, which is not spam. It is just me every once in a while, like maybe 2 or 3 times a month. I'm just like, here's some of my thoughts. Here's what I'm thinking. Here's some ideas. And I love to hear back from you. So head on over to the website if you want to sign up for that. Have an excellent day.